Hey everybody. Good energy to you guys. I do have a bit of a sullen mood kind of flowing through me right now. So, this isn't going to be, the most positive video that I'm sharing with the world. But it is what it is. And emotions. Taylor Bud and I think it's his friend. I'm not sure the full dynamics of the relationship, but he's had this other guy on his channel quite a few times. So I'm assuming they're friends, but again, I don't know. They made an interesting video earlier today, or at least they uploaded it earlier today. I'm not sure exactly when they made it, but it was a thought-provoking. To me, it was thought-provoking, and they talked about a lot of things. But the thing that I wanted to share in regards to what they talked about was emotions and angels, and I guess for starters, I mean, Jesus wept. When Jesus walked into the tax collectors, or they weren't tax collectors, but the market where they were, selling all their goods, did he not, in, great anger, as it's been told, or at least conveyed, flip over the tables? This is a very emotional reaction. These are things that he's feeling, that he's acting on. And I mean, this is the Son of God. And I think, I don't remember the exact words that they chose to use in their video. I'm referring to, again, Taylor Bud, which he changed the name of his channel to Collage Zombie. Interesting name. But, he was talking about how angels, he brought up a few things. First of all, he brought up how, they don't have sex organs, and that is a depiction that I've seen myself and heard about. Now, that word angel, there's a lot of different ways you can take that word. To me, an angel is somebody who helps people better understand or get to know God. So, in my opinion, anybody and even anything can be angelic. I happen to find, nature and animals to be very angelic because they are the state that they're in. Like humanity, we're all different levels of growth and evolution, if you want to use that word. Animals are very much, most animals on the planet today are very in tune with their, Yeah.
Can you talk? I mean,
I'm in the middle of making a video, but what's up? Yeah.
Oh, I just wondered, can we walk the girls and get back by 3:15, like maybe 2:45 or something?
Yeah, that's fine.
Does that work? Okay, thanks. I'm just checking. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, animals, they're very much in tune with their, original God created, unmanipulated self. Or state of being. So because of that, they live very, sober lives. They're not exploiting the earth. They're not creating any real, excessive disharmony. Everything's harmonious, really, but there's levels of harmony. You can be in good harmony with your environment and thus helping things in a good, healthy way continue to grow and flow. Or you can be more aligned with a disharmonious way of being, and, your existence can, help perpetuate a way of living and being that's not conducive to the rest of life forms on the planet. And most human beings today are living, disharmonious lives with a conducive reality that's good for all, is what it is. This really goes, a lot of this goes back, if not everything, goes back to our infrastructure, because we work jobs and we live in societies and we have governments that are governing us in a particular type of way. And they've chosen to withhold certain good technologies that are healthy and more in alignment with a harmonious way of living, and they've chosen thus to perpetuate exploitative, toxic technologies, which are not in alignment with a good way of living for all. So because of that, and because we all are the ones who are, perpetuating this system and giving it power and paying it attention, thus our energy, we are, in a sense, becoming more and more each and every day, the more time we spend doing it, and, the deeper our involvement is in these societies, becoming like that, so I think, yeah, you can find a lot of angelic examples and energy out in nature and in animals, because they live lives that are very simple and in tune with, like I said, a conducive way of living that's good for all. That word conducive, I don't know if it's appropriate for that statement, but it is what it is. So yeah, and just getting back to what Taylor Bud and his friend were talking about earlier, he brought up how angels aren't supposed to be emotional. We're just supposed to serve God. I say it like it is what it is. Like I said, I think anybody can be angelic. So if you have a life that's geared and focused towards trying to help, others and yourself, I think helping yourself is just something we should all do as life forms. And to really be angelic, you have to do more than just help yourself. You have to really want to try to help others, the greater good, the problems that we see, need help dealing with. So if you're living a life that's in tune with that, that's, living, truer to the word, which is unconditional love for everybody and everything, than one whom is just self-seeking and self-satisfying. So, but again, I wanted to talk about the angels and them not having emotions, and why I think a lot of us here, or anybody, can be an angel, and why it's imperative that we angels, as well as God, because I believe Joshua is God incarnated in the flesh right now, and I call him Pops, but why he himself has had to go through, the turmoil of emotional roller coasters. And I think that's because he, as we, angels, are all still learning and growing, and I also think it's part of being, a messenger of God or a worker for God, to help show people how we can, how we deal with the same things that they're dealing with, and how we, persevere and overcome them and transmutate them into something that's, good and healthy, and not, geared towards more destruction of oneself and the environment that we're around. But in order to really relate to the people, and thus learn the lesson and be of something of sustenance that can really help people grow, you got to be able to relate to it. So how would we angels, or even God himself, really be able to relate to humanity and thus help humanity out if he wasn't, privy to the experiences of the human experience? So because of that, I think it's necessary for angels and God to go through the roller coaster of emotions, so that we can better learn about how to get over them, and thus better share our experiences with the rest of humanity, so that they too then can learn to get over them. But it's not about, not living an emotional life. I think it's about, again, learning how to navigate through them healthily, knowing which emotions to not pay more attention to, and which emotions to work on and pay more attention to. Because things like joy and sadness, you can choose to fester and dwell and sink deeper into your sadness and do things that are going to perpetuate your sadness, like listen to sad music, get extremely drunk on yourself, just, lie in your bed all day and not do anything. These are all things that are going to be more in line with staying sad and becoming more sad. Or you can choose to do things that are more aligned with joy and positivity and love, like, in that sad state, you're obviously not going to be the most jovial person at that time, but if you choose to put on, a movie that's going to make you laugh, or you choose to go on a walk rather than lie in your bed, even though everything in your body's telling you just want to lie in bed, something inside of you might know that, hey, if I continue to just lie in my bed and be stagnant, things aren't going to get better. I'm going to stay in this state, and it's just not going to help anything. But if you make that choice to get up, go outside, smell the air, feel the sun, if there's sun out, listen to the birds, if there's birds out, look at some trees, this and that, you're putting energy, you're paying attention to a more joyous reality for yourself. So there's choices we can make that can help change the emotional mood that we're in. This is also why I find things like exercise and singing, playing music, learning to play music, reading, writing, all of these types of creative activities are also aligned with creation, which is God, which is love. So the more that you do those type of things, especially if you're playing music and reading books and writing things that are aligned with positivity, you're paying more attention to creation and thus love, and you're going to become more loving and essentially change or transmutate your mood. So yeah, just my 2 cents on the whole angel thing. I think that it's absolutely imperative that we have emotions and we learn to live in a healthy way with these emotions, and to also cherish them and to value them and to appreciate them, and to know without this emotional experience that we're all going through, there would be no contrast. There'd be nothing for us to grow from. You need the friction in order to grow. Sex is all about friction. It's about, a straight device going into a condensed hole that, expands to varying degrees. And, the movements of those two forces coming together creates a pleasure that you both feel. And then when that pleasure reaches a crescendo or a climax, you have an orgasm and life is able to come through, but it needed that friction. That friction was absolutely essential for things to grow. Just like I think, goes back to the Garden of Good and Evil, we have to learn about good and evil in order for us to grow. Evilness has to be there. If everything was just good and pleasant all the time, what room for growth is there? Because we've already mastered it. The only other room for growth is to learn how to go into the opposite end of the energy spectrum, evilness, experience evilness, and grow from that evilness and turn into something new. But without that evilness, without that contrast, without that darkness, we wouldn't have the opportunity or the ability to grow. So the same can be said for emotional states. You got to have both. You got to know what it's like to go into the depths of hell and also to float in, the beautiful rays of heaven. So yeah, just my 2 words on being an angel, and not just, humans being angels, but anything could be an angel. You can even have an object that to you helps radiate an angelic presence because you've used it in an angelic type of a way. And then I also think that you can imbue items with your energy. So if you are using a particular item to do a lot of good, then you are imbuing that particular item with angelic powers. It is what it is, man. That's what I believe. So yeah, man, for me, it's not about repressing your emotions or, not listening to them or shutting them off or anything like that. It's about transmutation of the emotions. And also about, being able to be present in the moment and sit. When I say sit, I just mean to be in your emotions and to be okay enough to know that it's something that you need to go through and that will change, because change is the one constant in the universe. And to also know that there's things that you can do to help change your mood in various ways. And that's where we have free will and, the lovely gift of choice to choose what type of emotion we want to perpetuate and go into. And that's why we also have tools to help, get us back into a more loving emotional state when we've fallen into, a sad state or an unhealthy emotional state. So yeah, I just, but I want to say I appreciated, Taylor Budd and his buddy making that video, man. Like I said, it was very thought-provoking, and, to me, I'm more interested in us, speaking and sharing what's on our minds and our hearts, whatever it may be. Just be true to yourself, and I think the more truth that we all share and the more truth that we all choose to speak on, in regards to each other, because that's important too, is us, bouncing ideas off of each other, because one person's got a particular angle a perception that another person doesn't have, and they might just give you that little bit of, light that you needed to see things in a little bit of a different manner. And then that person can do that for somebody else too. And it's something that is beautiful and can be passed around from, being to being. And, the more that we all do that, the more we're unraveling the truths of who we are in this reality. And also, I think through that process, we're going to come across a lot of solutions, because we all got a piece to this puzzle. And I think we all have something, we all have gifts and purposes here and different fingerprints. So we all have something to offer. And the more that we're all offering, or sharing what we have or what we think we have to offer, the better off we all are. So I encourage y'all to keep on sharing, man. Whatever your truth is, in my opinion, it's good to just share it. Don't get too caught up on how other people are going to think about it. Just know that it's who you are, and be real with who you are and where you are. And, once you're okay with that, then you can start to really, if you're trying to change or be something different or grow into something different, you first got to acknowledge where you're actually at. And then from that true spot of where you're at, you can then, once you've, owned that spot, you can own that, and then you have a stable foundation to move on to a different spot. But until you actually own where you're at, it's going to be hard for you to really move anywhere in any type of real concrete type of way, because you haven't even fucking mastered the step that you're on. So how can you really expect to move to another spot with any type of real stability if you weren't even able to stabilize the current spot that you're in? So, and again, a lot of these words that I'm speaking are stuff that I am still working on and learning myself too. So I just don't want people to think that I'm saying these things from a perspective as somebody who's mastered this stuff, because I haven't. But that's part of the game, man, is learning how to be better and to how to, quote unquote, be a master, and then once you become a master, you move on to something else. So, all right. Yeah, I love you guys. Y'all take care. All right. Bye.